Welcome to Campus Connection, a podcast dedicated to connecting with one another. You can find us on Spotify and YouTube, and you may contact us by writing in the comment section or writing to us at podcast@mcccollege.edu. We would love to hear your positive feedback and your thoughts on any future topics you would like to hear. I am your host, Giovanni Mayorga, and we are recording from our 203 North LaSalle campus in downtown Chicago. I've had the opportunity to be on live television a couple of times and on recorded programs other times. First time I was on live television, I was at the NBC Telemundo studios here in downtown Chicago to do a segment on at-home fitness. At the time, I was fitness director for a YMCA in the south side of Chicago on 26th and Western. And when I first went on live, I was like a deer in the headlights. My eyes were wide as saucers, and I must have looked ridiculous that the producers of the news segment just played random physical activity video over my live feed, although they can obviously still hear my voice. And during the demonstration that I was doing of the activity that I was showing, I had strapped a rubber tubing to my ankle, because I think you can either strap to your ankle or step on it. So I had strapped it to my ankle, and then when I pulled it, it snapped off. So it was not only funny but also embarrassing at the same time. So today I'll be speaking with one of my colleagues who has experience being a television producer, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Her name is Shaudy Martinez. So welcome, Shaudy, to the podcast. Really excited that you're here today. How are you feeling?
Thank you, Gio. I'm so excited. My first podcast ever.
Wonderful. Looking forward to it. It's great that you're here. You have such an interesting story, not only personally, but also professionally, that I'm really intrigued by. So why don't we start by letting people know you're obviously one of our staff members here, and what you started doing and what are you doing now?
Yes, sure. Well, I came to MCC as a student in 2018. I was trying to finalize my ESL program, and then the MCC started their business program. It was the first time they offered that, and I say, okay, I'm going to take the chance and I'm going to do it. So I did my associate in business. Then I continued and I did my associate in marketing. I was lucky enough, and I started working here too in the externship department like 2 years ago. Yeah, a little bit more. But now, fortunately, I'm the International Student Services Coordinator, which is, I don't know, like it was meant to be, because I was an international student, and now I'm not an international student anymore, but I had the experience to now help students. So it's like a full circle.
That's great, and that's wonderful. On our first episode, I interviewed Jessica Kareem, who also has an interesting story, because she obviously came from Germany. You're coming from Venezuela.
Correct.
How did you make that decision to say, I want to learn English, I want to travel to a different country, and how you ended up here at MCC?
Yeah. Well, I was studying English back home, but it is not the same when you learn a new language in a foreign country where you cannot practice how to speak properly. So I decided to come because I wanted new opportunities in my job. I wanted to grow, and I said, it's time. I'm going to do that. Well, I cannot lie. Also, in my country, we lived a very difficult political crisis. And then, okay, just to look for another opportunities, I say, okay, it's now or never. So I decided to come to United States, and I was looking for courses, English courses for ESL, and one of the companies that brought my attention, it was EF, and because they offer a course for plus 25 years old. So I said, like, I don't want to be with teenagers, like, because I don't know English enough. Like, I don't want to be ashamed, to be honest, in front of a teenager. So I tried to find a course that offer English for adults. So the only opportunity that they have, it was here in Chicago. And I didn't know anything about this city. And I said, well, but I'm going to take the chance. So that's why I came, just to learn English properly, or to complete my initial studies in English. But then, as I told you, well, I started in EF, and then I moved to another school. But then I came to MCC. And when MCC opened that business program, I said, okay, I had a background in marketing and communications. I studied that career back in Venezuela. So, yeah, I was all related to journalism, marketing, communications, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, okay, business is maybe a complement that I need. And then I did the marketing one, and yeah, that's why I came to Chicago specifically.
Now, I spoke in the introduction, I spoke about, I've been fortunate to have been on live television a couple times.
Yeah.
One of the times was at Telemundo, or NBC Studios, Telemundo, Chicago. And it was the first time I had been on television, and I after that I've been on television other times. But you actually worked as a producer in television. Tell me a little bit about, or tell the listeners a little bit about that experience.
Yeah.
What does a producer do?
This is like my passion. I mean, I think I'm born being a producer, because being a producer is like to solve problems.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I'm a problem-solving person. I started my professional career being an assistant producer in the cinema industry back in Venezuela. That was amazing. I mean, the teamwork that you see in a production like that is amazing. Is my passion. So then I moved to TV, and I was a producer for it was a sport channel. So I was a producer of many sport programs. Like the first one, it was like exercise in the morning, like a magazine. But then I moved to baseball. That was amazing. I was a producer for live. I mean, yeah, I was in the stadium all the time, like 64 games in a season. So that was amazing. And then I did like motocross and so many things. But when you're a producer, you can produce whatever you want. You have to be very organized. You have to be a problem solver, of course. But also you have to see everything like in 360.
Mm-hmm.
And also you have to have like your radio of action. You cannot limit your action to something, because you have to solve issues. You have to make that things happen at the time that they have to happen. Mm-hmm. But also you are like the link with all the departments, all the people involved in a team. So this is what I am. This is what defines me. I mean, I'm a producer in my veins, yes, in my heart and in my mind. I always have that mentality.
Yeah, is that something that you still do anywhere in a part-time, or do you do anything that can keep you tied to?
Well, every time I plan an event, for example, for students, I'm producing the event.
Correct.
Because you have to plan everything, and you have to work with different departments, with different people. So I see everything as I'm a producer of my life, because it's for everything. Since you plan a budget to, I don't know, buy an apartment, buy a car, whatever, you have to have that mentality that you are a planner and you are a doer too. I mean,
That's what I find so interesting, that you had this wonderful life, or seemingly wonderful life as a producer, and then you decide, hey, I want to go study in the United States. Did you have family here? How is that story in terms of coming to Chicago, knowing or not knowing people, and how you found yourself in Chicago once you got here?
yeah. Well, after I was a producer, I changed my career to a corporate area. And I was more a consultant, and I work in PR. So I was planning a lot of events. And then there was when I thought, okay, if I want to go further and to be, I don't know, a manager or whatever, I have to brought something else. So maybe the language is going to open this space for me. So that's why I decided to come. But I was planning to come just for a while. And yeah, just to complete my ESL program and then go back to my country. But as I told you at the beginning, in Venezuela, we suffer a very dramatic political crisis, economical crisis. So once I was here, I said, if I'm going back, what I'm going to do? I was aspiring to a better job, but there are no jobs anymore. I mean, we are fighting there for food, for basic resources. So I think this is not the time to go back yet. So that's why I decided to stay here and study something else. I was not going to stay in the same level. I just want to grow while I was here. That's why I studied these 2 associates that I thought that would bring me more opportunities here or somewhere else. So yeah, I came at the beginning alone, and I didn't know anybody here in Chicago, but I made a lot of good friends, because that's the good thing that, this is an unique opportunity that an ESL program brings you. You can connect with people that you never imagined you will connect from all over the world. So in fact, right now, I keep in touch with friends that I met in that ESL program, and they are from Turkmenistan, Serbia, Colombia, that is our neighbor down in South America, but I didn't know anybody from there. And yeah, so although I was alone at the beginning, I didn't feel alone anymore, because they became my family here. But also I was fortunate.
Yes.
I was lucky enough that then my sister came, my mom came. So now we are reunited here.
Oh, so now they are here. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes. It was not easy, but finally they are here, and I'm super happy, because the first 2-3 years were really hard. When you feel alone, when you're an international student and you are really alone in another country, you struggle with the culture, new costumes, the language. It is hard, but although we feel alone at the beginning, there are plenty of people that helps you in your path, that you will never feel alone again, because I call them angels, little angels that help you everywhere. When you are more needed, they are there. So it is a matter to adapt yourself to the new city, to the new country where you're living, and everything is going to be okay, I guess. This is the main message. Don't be afraid.
Is there a large community of Venezuelans aside from the recent people that have arrived.
Yeah.
Is there a large community of Venezuelans?
Well, when I arrived, we were like 300, something like that. But now we are thousands.
Oh, nice.
Yes, it's a huge community. Yeah. Also, I met Venezuelans here during my ESL program, mostly, but from different states
Sure.
that when I was living in Venezuela, I'm from Caracas, from the capital, and I was there. I mean, no reason to go to another
anywhere,
state. Just for work. I
Mhm.
travel a lot for work, but I was there, worked, and came back. But now here, I have friends from Los Andes, Oriente. I mean, from different regions that I was like, okay, if we were not here in Chicago, I will never meet you.
Right, right. So, what advice? Because now obviously you're working with the international students here at MCC,
Yes.
and I'm sure you still have friends and connections back in Venezuela, which potentially will hear this podcast that we're recording today. What message would you have to people back in Venezuela who are thinking of traveling to the United States, coming to Chicago? What message would you give them?
I think the message will apply to everybody, not just for my Venezuelan people. And it's I start saying that a little before of this question. If you want to do it, just do it. Just do it because there are no reasons that can limit not just your dreams. I mean, if it's a dream, of course, dreams can come true and you have to work for that. But you will never regret to do or to have an experience like this one. Not just because you are going to achieve a language, not just because you're going to achieve a diploma or certificate. It's about the experience. I mean, I grew up. I mean, I'm a totally different person now than before I was in Venezuela. 2014, it was my second, third chance. I don't know which chance, but I'm a totally different person because, living alone or having these friends from Korea, from, I don't know. I mean, you're in contact with so many different experiences that will never happen around your neighborhood, in your town. This is another thing. It's an experience. If you want to do that for 1 year, for 2 months, for 3 months, it doesn't matter. Do it. Come to the United States, learn a language or learn a new skill. And then when you go back to your country, you're going to be a different person. I mean, the experience is unique.
Yeah, I as well. I was born here in Chicago, but I grew up in Guatemala, in la ciudad de Guatemala. And I studied there a few years until I came to the United States when I was 9, 10 years old after living in Guatemala. And some of the things that I remember aside, I've mentioned a lot in the podcast that I grew up playing soccer. I also grew up in the church choir and my school choir. I attended a Catholic private school, elementary school in Guatemala, and I remember, and I think I told you the story where I believe it was third grade, and at the time, can't remember the year, but Pope John Paul II, I believe, came to Guatemala, and it was a huge deal, of course, and every college school in Guatemala was sending their choir, to sing for the Pope and sing during Mass and all that stuff.
That was an honor.
It was a huge honor, and when my school choir was deciding who they were going to send, I was one of the last ones that they didn't pick. So I still remember that, and I'm not happy about it.
Yeah.
But you also grew up, and you took up, singing and choir. Tell the listeners a little bit about that.
Yes. Well, when I was in college, I studied in the Universidad Católica Andrés Bello. This is a huge honor. We love our university. And then a friend of mine, I mean, when I grew up in elementary school, I did everything that I can. I dance like for 11 years. I sing, I play instruments like guitar, cuatro, whatever they had like an activity, extra activity after school. I did everything. Craft, yeah, I did everything. But then when I was in college, a friend of mine, she loved to sing. We studied together all high school, and then we decided to study the same career, which was like social communication. I mean, it could be like with different names, like broadcasting, journalism. My area was audiovisual arts. But then the first 3 years we were together because it's like basic, the foundation for all the career. And then the last 2 years, you choose your specific area. So I choose audiovisual arts, and she chose journalism. So we split at that time. But the first year, she said, there is a choir, so I'm going to go. I'm going to have the audition, and I'm going to go there. And I was super attached to her, like, okay, me too. I didn't know if I was good singer or whatever. I was just like, okay, if you go, I'm going to do that too. At the end of the day, I did the audition. They took me, la la la. We were singing, but then I felt passion for that, and I was good, so good. Not anymore. I have to practice. But I was the soloist that in the choir.
It's a huge honor.
And I was like, oh my God, I can do it. And yeah, I sing like for 4 or 5 years. And then we start a group, and we sing in churches, like for weddings. And yeah, it was an amazing period of my life. I love to sing. And then it was something like more professional. I did like, how do you call that? It's choir too, like singles or these catchy phrases like the brands had.
Like jingles?
Jingles, yeah, jingles. I did that. And yeah, it was like the choir for singers. I don't know. I was like a pro.
Nice.
But this is a muscle that you have to, I mean,
Of course,
you have to practice.
practice.
Like to go to the gym, yeah, you have to sing every day to improve. So when I came here, yeah, I stopped a little bit. So
you should pick it up again.
just karaoke.
A lot of work, lots of weddings here.
Right now, just karaoke. But it's okay. I'm always thinking like I should join a group, like a cappella group, because I love the harmonies and things like that. But
Pentatonics. Have you heard of them?
well, yes,
they're coming here.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're amazing.
Well, they're always here, but
yeah, they're amazing. But I'm very musical. I have like 2 tattoos related to music.
is that right?
Yes, and yeah, I love music. I love concerts. I love classical music. I love everything related to music. I can cry if I
On command?
listen in. I mean if I listen in I'm not an actress. If I listen in a good song, it's like I'm very emotional with music. So
Okay.
yeah, I love
Wonderful.
music.
You also like cooking and cooking shows?
Yes.
How's that? What type of cooking shows are out there?
Yeah,
I know
it was kind of.
whatever's advertised on TV, but is that what you watch?
I mean, I love every cooking show on TV. I love it because I develop also that skill just practicing by myself. I say, okay, I'm going to cook, but I don't want to cook something regular just to survive, like rice, beefsteak, whatever. But then I start being like super obsessed. Like if it was my birthday, oh, what do you want? A book of recipes. I became obsessive. And I start cooking, but savory food. I'm pretty bad in desserts. I'm not good. But savory food, you will love it. Yes,
Nice.
yes. And that also is like, it calm me down. Like if I'm too stressed and if I cook, it's fine.
Okay.
It'll be okay. Yeah.
Nice. And what are your future plans? I mean, is Chicago somewhere where you like to remain? Do you want to travel to other states in the U.S. or what are your future plans?
Chicago, I feel Chicago like is my home. I've been here for 9 years. Yeah, next year is gonna be my 10th anniversary. So every time I visit another state just for vacations. I try to compare, like, okay, let me see what I can see here, or if I feel like I can live in another city. And at the end of the day, it's like, oh, no, 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 let's go back home. Let's go back home. But when I say let's go back home, is let's go back to Chicago. It's like, I used to live in Caracas, of course, but I feel like Chicago is my home now. And yeah, sometimes I feel like kind of sad because usually when I say I'm going to go back home, it means Caracas. But when I say home now, it's Chicago. So you never know. Here in United States, things change from minute to minute.
Right.
So
right.
I'm always open to new opportunities. But so far, I'm going to stay here in Chicago. And yeah, I'm kind of also new in this position. So I just want to develop this new help for students. So yeah, I'm not going anywhere soon.
Nice. Yeah, Chicago's always going to be home. I was born here.
Yeah.
I have lived in other states, and it's you get the best of everything in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I spoke again when I spoke to Jessica about the differences between New York and Chicago. I haven't been out to LA yet, which is I want to see what that whole environment in LA is and the community, because there's a huge community, probably the largest community of Guatemalans in LA.
Los Angeles.
Yeah, Los Angeles. So we'll see. One of these days I'll travel. I've been to California and to Nevada. But not really traveled too much into Los Angeles or San Diego or anything like that. I do want to go to the national parks out there. So, but anyway, we've come to the end of our session today. Want to thank you for taking the time to be here. It was a lovely conversation, and I hope our listeners got to know you a little bit more and got some good information. Some good comments that you made. So I want to thank you. I want to remind our listeners to write to us at podcast@mcccollege.edu, and we look forward to speaking to you next time.
Thank you very much, you.
Thank you.